Stop the singing. Everyone hold everything. It's the final week of the NFL season. We've made it. We've made it. And I'm happy to say that we are all still in this race. Week 18 is here, everybody. We are going to give our picks for every game of Week 18. Please like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Hope everyone's had a great holiday season. I'm joined with my co-host, Tony Tucker, Joe Morley, the J and the T, and the MJT. How's it going, Tony?
It's going great. Just got back from a little trip to the mountains. Saw some snow. Went outside when it was like 30 degrees, no sleeves, had a cup of coffee, tried to channel that energy into the Chargers, who are used to warm weather when they have to go on the road to a cold climate in the playoffs potentially. You know, just trying to send positive vibes, how to be tough in cold weather, because I don't think a lot of these guys are used to it. And, you know, I'm from Upper Michigan. I know what it's like. I know it's like.
Yeah. I saw they were asking Brandon Staley about it at his press conference, and he was like, 40 degrees isn't even really cold for what we'd have to be ready for. Well, they're talking about him going to Denver and being like, is this an opportunity to practice in the cold? And he's like, I don't think you guys understand how cold Buffalo or Kansas City can get.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like 40 degrees is cold to, you know, Asante Samuel's from Florida. You know, I'm not sure how many cold weather games him and Derwin and some of these other players have played in. And I do think it's good to go and feel what it's like. You know, do you want sleeves on? Do you want thicker gloves? Do you wear 2 pairs of socks? What does that feel like to play in something different than what you'd normally be wearing?
Joe, how you doing? They're already giving you shout outs in the comments.
Doing good. Early morning Raider game. It's game day today. 2 games today, the Raiders and the Chiefs. And I don't know the other one. It don't matter about the other one, but no, the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Tennessee Titans tonight. So, hey, any day that has football on it is a good day. It's for me, right? Yeah, Randy Pepperton in the house saying hi, Tony. Oh, Mike, I don't think Pepperton's a big fan of you.
That's not very nice.
Robert, 49ers got lucky last week. Zero's in the house. What's up, Zero? How you doing today? Harrison says, good morning, boys. Don't like Mike at the moment. So Harrison already starting with an L on Mike. Oh, Randy, I'm everybody's favorite. I'm flattered, Randy. Joker says, don't even show my comment. Maybe he commented before. I don't know. All 3 of my favorites. You guys are my boys.
Joker, did you get a new computer for Christmas so you can come on one of these shows with us?
Yeah, what's going on here with the?
I need to get Joker on one of these days. Zero is one of my favorites out there, but
the Chargers chalice.
What is this? What is this?
Nothing. Anyways, before we get into these picks,
Bradley Winter. Hold on. 30 degrees is warmish for me. Bradley Winter. And Joker said no, he didn't yet.
Bradley Winter's name is Winter. Obviously, he's ready for the cold game. He can play in any temperatures. Anyways, before we get into the picks, let's talk about what happened on Monday Night Football. Just leave our thoughts. Let's talk about it. Send our well wishes out to DeMar Hamlin and his family. The newest update that I saw is that he's actually FaceTiming and calling all of his teammates and former teammates that are in the NFL, former coaches, and letting them know that he's okay, which is just, I mean, a damn near a miracle. But anything you guys want to bring up or talk about with that situation? Or Tony, I'm sure you have something to say.
Yeah, 32 years of watching football. I've never seen anything like that. And you guys can attest to this. My text message to you was instantaneous because I was sitting there going, what was that? You know, like it looked like he had fallen in a way that he'd been taken out by like a sniper, because I've never seen, even when you fall with a concussion, there's still some sense of like you're trying to gain your bearing, your balance or whatever. Like he just fell in a way where I was terrified for him. I was like, what just happened to this? What was that? Like, this is scary. That was the message I sent to you, was what happened? This is scary. And it was like within 10 seconds of him hitting the ground, because I've never seen anything happen on a football field. And as soon as they start talking about CPR and whatever else, it was one of those things where it's like, I need everybody in the moment to remember that this is entertainment, right? Like that's all this is. We take it so seriously as fans, but always have to be thinking like this really is just the greatest form of reality television. And all of these players and coaches and everybody, the lives and stuff that they have going on. And I'm extremely grateful for the sacrifices they make to their body, but also to the families and everything else. And I can't imagine having watched my child or, whoever in that moment. And lastly, I just want to say, I think overall the NFL has handled this stuff pretty well. Like we will never be able to understand all the gears that are in motion for a multi-billion-dollar organization that they have going on and just trying to keep things going in the right direction. So overall, I'm there. I've spent countless time praying for this young man, 24 years old, to just get back to his family and be able to enjoy life and create his own family, hopefully someday. So just continue to hope and pray for good news to continue to be put out there for him.
The most awesome part about this, I mean, if you take any great light out of this, is when he woke up, Tony. He asked if the Bills won the game, if they won. What kind of competitor is that to ask that? Like, going through all this, you wake up and ask that. That's, to me, I was just like shocked because that shows the competitive nature that these players have. Win, lose, get hurt, whatever, they want to know what they did for their team and how their team's doing. The one narrative that I've been pushing is, you guys seen it, the safest place in the if something happens to you is on an NFL field because of how many medical staff are there or in a hospital. But the one thing I take from it, and I've been pushing on a lot of my lives, is it's something that everybody should know and should get to know if you don't already, is learn how to do CPR because you never know when you're going to need it. And it's a very big thing that you need to learn how to do because imagine if it was at home. This is just anything that you need to do. So I'm pushing the CPR narrative, saying go out there and learn for a basic first aid, get it ready for yourself and your family because you never know when you're going to need it. But it's great to see that he's actually moving around, breathing, talking on his own, doing all that. But great for Hamlin and the Buffalo Bills going forward.
Yeah, and I'm going to echo that message when I get the chance to, Joe, to make another video or maybe a final video just saying that he's good once we got the green light that he's going home. Make that video and add in there to echo your message that is a very important point that you could learn from this, is that it could be literally anywhere that you need to help somebody. And that proved it on Monday Night Football. Something we've never seen in the NFL before when someone needed it on a football field. I had seen it once before in high school when I was a sophomore. One of the seniors, they were taking like pre-workout pills before the game.
Yeah.
And one of the kids had heart problems on the field and had to be taken to the hospital, had to be resuscitated, similar situation. So I have seen it once before, and just being that close to it, I can't imagine what those players are going through because they're probably even tighter to DeMar Hamlin than I ever could have been to, a guy that was 3 years older than me and I had just joined the team, and that ruined our entire season. So to see what the Bills are doing now, and you could see that the Bills are kind of galvanizing around this and all their press conferences and stuff. Kudos to them, man. And I'm sure that's what DeMar Hamlin wants them to do and wants them to continue to do.
And I know he has an organization that people have been donating to, and it's over like what, $6 million or something like that?
$7 million, over $7 million.
And just a lighter note, Rob Gronkowski, being the kind of guy he is, donated money to him. Do you want to guess how much he donated?
$69,000.
$6,900, yes.
Okay, yeah, that's a pretty good guess. There's a lot of donors on there. If you go and look at the list, it's just a bunch of celebrities, man. People donate 10, 20.
Chris Jericho. I sent you the one about Chris Jericho. That was awesome. Yeah. Chris Jericho donated $5,000, spelled his name wrong, and so donated another $5,000 just to correct his name.
Tom Brady donated 10. I think the Wilsons, Sierra and Russ, donated some money. Yeah, it was great also to see. And we'll move on to the pick'ems after this, everyone that's probably waiting in the chat to hear our thoughts on the Raiders getting smoked by the Chiefs today. I think it was great to see like just the sports world in general rally around this kid. And then the age with the internet, I've always wondered like if there, God forbid, was tragedy, was catastrophe. Like, are we going to go crazy? Is the world going to lose its mind with the power of the internet and being able to communicate with each other? Or are we going to come together? And you saw in this situation, everyone came together behind DeMar Hamlin and the Buffalo Bills. So that was great to see. It gave me some faith in humanity. On to the
okay. Remember this, guys. Remember this. As we do our picks, as we show you our games, make sure you guys put who you think is going to win so we can pull that up on the screen too and match up with us with Mike and Tony. But as you guys know right now, as we're moving on to the pick'ems, as of right now, I still got the lead, guys. I'm still kicking your guys' butt right here and going into the final regular season week.
How much are you winning by, Joe?
Mike, let me tell you something. It don't matter if you're winning by 1 or 100. You're winning.
I'm just saying, like, I'm at 156. You're at 157. That would be 1. And bam, just like that, we're tied. Immediately get tied. First segment of the show.
Winning.
We are tied just like that. We got the Chiefs going to Vegas to play the Raiders. The Chiefs trying to nail down the 1 seed. I believe the scenario is for the Chiefs. If they win, they lock the 1 seed with a potential for a neutral AFC championship game if they play the Bills. And that's the only way it could happen is if they play a Bills team off of a victory this week. So the Chiefs trying to clinch first seed. You know they're going to come out and try and win this game without, putting anyone at risk, obviously. Tony, any thoughts? You were telling me before we went on the air, some stuff about the Raiders I didn't really like, but continue. Go ahead.
I'm just saying I thought about picking the Raiders in this game. I think at home that they can – the first game they played them very closely, right? And from what I saw last week from Jared Stidham and his willingness to push the ball down the field and not be afraid to make mistakes, I think that was one of the issues that Carr had was he was overthinking a lot of stuff and missing a lot of opportunities to just say like, hey, 17's out there somewhere. F it. That's part of the success between Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews is like, hey, my guy's out there. I'm just going to go give him a chance to make a play. And that's what Stidham did. I think there could be more of that this week against a young secondary and Josh Jacobs. I think the game is closer. Last week I was giving Joe a hard time. I was saying that the Niners are going to beat him by 30. And that game was way too close for comfort. It was way closer than I wanted it to be. I just don't think that this is an automatic layup for it. I cheer for neither of these teams to have success. I would love for it to be a 0-0 tie in the ugliest game ever so that I could just make fun of both sides headed into the playoffs. But ultimately, I'm going to settle with the team that has more on the line. Like the Raiders, they have a chance to spoil somebody's first round bye. That's it. That's all. That's the best they have. Like that's what they're playing for. Chiefs have more to play for. I'll pick them.
Joe?
Oh yeah, the Niner game last week, Niner fans and their buttholes went real quick, right? Because they were like, oh, damn, the Raiders are actually going to beat us? Oh, this is not good for us. Raiders had nothing to lose last week. They had to come out there and just prove that they weren't going to quit. And that's all they had going for them because their season's over. Niner fans will say, oh, we eliminated the Raiders. It was done already. And then Jared Stidham came out. He did some great things. I'm not like some of these Raider fans that are because I actually watched the games, so I watched the game and I watched Jared Stidham. There was a couple passes where it's like, I need to see you do it again. I need to see you play again because for some reason, Darren Waller balled out last week. Something woke Darren Waller up last week, and he made some great catches. Devontae Adams made great catches. Jared Stidham still threw 2 picks last week that it eventually cost the Raiders the game, right? And you could say like one was tipped or they could whatever they want to say. The lineman got pushed into him. Eventually, who threw that ball? Jared Stidham did. So I want to see if he could correct himself. He came in the locker room, did all the right stuff, apologized to the team, did his thing. I want to see him do it. And this is the division. This is the team that everybody in the AFC West goes after is the Kansas City Chiefs, right? The Kansas City Chiefs have not only owned the Raiders, they've owned the Broncos, they've owned the Chargers. This is the team, if you want to win the AFC West and you want something going forward, is the Kansas City Chiefs. The Raiders had a great game against them earlier this year where they had a great big lead on them, and they ended up losing it. And then they, for some reason, went for 2 at the end of the game, not even to tie it. So can they do it again? And was it all Derek Carr's fault? That's what we're going to find out today. But I already told you guys know why I'm picking the Raiders because I'm a Raider fan and I don't go against my own team. But I need to watch the Raiders today. I need to watch the Raiders come out today and not quit because there's nothing that the Raiders are playing for. This is the final game of the season, right? If they come out, and who would argue if they came out and just laid an egg and just laid down? Because then you'd be like, oh yeah, they quit. They already quit. But if they come out fired up and they play their job and they hold the Kansas City Chiefs and it's a great game, then you have a little bit of faith or a little bit of more faith going into the next season with Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, I mean, the Raiders already quit. Watch the Commanders bench their quarterback, they quit. All these other teams bench their quarterbacks, they're quitting. The Raiders already quit on this season, but this is a great opportunity for Jarrett Stidham to showcase his skills and what he's got. He's played in the NFL before. He's had a stretch of 4 games where he started before during that Cam Newton season, and we've seen what Jarrett Stidham can do. Josh McDaniels knows exactly what Jarrett Stidham can do. The Raiders sat Carr because they quit on this season and they didn't want to be in a bad contract position if he got hurt. That's why they benched Carr. They already quit on the season. Let's just be clear on that. But I do think the Raiders have some juice out there. The players out there don't seem to be making the business decisions that I think they should be making. I think Devontae Adams should not even play in this game. We'll see how it goes. I think the Chiefs are probably going to win this thing by 10 points. KC, baby.
Hey, and Zero, you're correct. I already made a video on TikTok. It's out there. Andrew Riley and the Chiefs offensive linemen, go out there and play correctly. Don't hold like you did all game last game. You're holding son of a bitches.
On to this one where we got the Tennessee Titans playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think it's tonight, right? What time's the game at? 5:30?
Yeah.
For the AFC South. This is the AFC South championship game. Me and Joe are rocking with the Jags. Tony's with the Titans. Tony, why you got the Titans winning this one?
I don't know, honestly. The Jaguars have played better football for the last 7 weeks. Here's the thing that I think about. I think that for the final couple of weeks here, all the things that Mike Vrabel has been doing when it sort of looked like this was the game that was going to decide whether or not they won the division, they were all moving in that direction. I think the defense got healthy. It was nice to have a nice bye week. I think I saw enough positive things from Josh Dobbs in his last start to be able to move the football. There might even be some fun wrinkles in this game where they run the Wildcat with Malik Willis, like be able to put him and Derrick Henry in the backfield together and run some exciting. I think they pull out all the stops in this game, and they're not going to go down without a fight. Derrick Henry's back. I'm taking them in a close game that just goes to show you how ugly this division really has been. And Titans find a way to win a game where we all go, Titans shouldn't be in the playoffs. How was this the 1 seed last year? It doesn't matter. It's Mike Vrabel. I think that he's a very good coach and finds a way to win this specific game.
Joe?
I was going back and forth on this game, and a lot of people are they're going with the Jags as well, and with you and I, Mike, in the chat. If you look at them, the Titans are on a 6-game losing streak, and in those 6 games, they've only scored 20 points one time, and I think you need to score 20 points to win this game. And the Jacksonville Jaguars defense has been unstoppable. They've only given up 13 points, or an average of 13 points in their last couple of games. I think Jacksonville is streaking at the right time while Tennessee's not. Tennessee went in the wrong direction. I'm not going to sit here and go, Dobbs is – I'm excited to see Dobbs come out here because he's had his chances before. The only worry about I have in this game is Derrick Henry, because Derrick Henry always lights up the Jacksonville Jaguars no matter what. But I think Doug Peterson has his team in the right direction, has his team focused, and the young guys on this team want to win, and they're going to pull it off. And the Tennessee Titans go home today.
Yeah, and that's it for the Jaguars, in my opinion. Not the same old Jaguars. I think that Doug Peterson brings a little bit more of confidence for me to this game, especially with how the Jaguars have been playing lately. I believe in Trevor Lawrence. What the Jaguars can't do is they can't just let this game become ugly. They can't let this thing become messy. They don't want this thing to turn into just a trench dogfight. They want to get up big, get up 10, get up 17 early in this game. Come out aggressive on offense and try and put the Titans in a situation where Dobbs has to try and throw back into this game. I think the Jaguars are going to do it. They got it tonight. But that's a big game for our pick'ems. This could almost eliminate you, Tony.
Yeah.
Unless there's some other differences in here. On to Houston at Indianapolis. where we all are picking the Texans to potentially ruin their first overall pick positioning by beating the Colts. And we're probably all thinking the same thing, but go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, I think this is Lovie Smith saying, if you're going to fire me, you won't be picking first in the draft. And not that it really matters. I've said it for the last 5 or 6 weeks. Firing Lovie Smith would be a horrible mistake. The team is not winning, but they're playing really hard against teams. And you really are a good, solid veteran signing away from having a competitive football team next year. Like, you're going to be able to add more receiving weapons. Like, imagine if they go out and get one of these tight ends. They get the kid from Georgia, Bowers, or the Meyer, whatever the tight end from Notre Dame, where you might be able to have a contributing player in the middle of the field to go with Mechie from Alabama, Nico Collins, a big body, deep ball receiver on the outside, and then Dameon Pierce is back. Like, you could have a functioning offense. They added pieces there. You could add I'm not saying the Texans will be good, but they're close to being competitive, and you need stability. You need to bring back a coach multiple seasons in a row. As for the Colts, I'm between them and the Broncos for this being like the worst destination possible. And I think the fact that Jim Irsay is the owner gives the side to the Colts is the worst position to be in. If I was Jonathan Taylor, I'd be trying to find a way to get traded.
Like Jerry Jones out of Texas. But go ahead, Joe.
I just want to give credit to this one. Niner gang, this is a good comment. He said, nobody will remember these Titans. Great. That's a great one. Houston, 2-13 on the season. We're not expecting a lot from them, but this team has hung with some of the best teams in this league, Tony. Some of these guys are not great players, not no-name players, but they're out there balling out. And the Indianapolis Colts, we've seen them. We've seen them under Jeff Saturday. We've seen them earlier this year with Frank Wright. They're just not a good team. And when you can't solidify that quarterback position, we ain't going with it. This is the 3 different quarterbacks this year, and they're just not getting it done. Houston, okay, even if Houston wins this game, they'll be tied with the Bears, and they could lose that number 1 pick. But it doesn't really matter because the Bears aren't going quarterback, so it doesn't matter to them. You know what I mean? So yeah. I don't see it making that big of a deal. But Lovie Smith is not going to have – he's not that kind of guy that's going to go out there and just go, oh, well, we're going to look forward to next year, so let's just rest our guys. Because who are you resting? All your guys are trying to make teams for other teams right now too. So everybody's going to go out there and play hard, where the Indianapolis Colts are just done.
Well, I personally think that the Texans and both the Texans and the Bears at 1 overall will be taking Will Anderson with their draft pick. Maybe the Bears would consider taking the best left tackle available, but I think it's going to be Will Anderson in the first 2 picks at least, but either a Texan or a Chicago Bear. Yeah, I agree with you guys on everything. I just think the Texans are playing with a lot more fire. They're playing with a lot more determination. They seem to be on a mission to kind of just prove a point that they want Lovie Smith around as a team next year, or whatever is going to be left of that team next year. They're really young, really hungry. And the Colts are just absolutely terrible and are literally a dumpster fire right now. Just everything's falling apart for them. Speaking of the Bears, on to the Bears. You got the Bears ruining their number 1 overall pick, Joe. But me and Tony are rocking with the Vikes. I think the Vikes are going to win this thing comfortably. What do you think, Tony? I wanted the Bears to upset the Lions last week, and they kind of left a sour taste in my mouth.
Yeah, to answer that question from Will, I think that the better team next year will be the Texans, but they need to keep Lovie Smith. For this game right here, will the Vikings please come out and just bury the Bears in the first half of this game? Will they just come out and win a game just in convincing fashion, going in with some positivity, help people bet wrong on them in the first round when they're going to get knocked out by Daniel Jones in the first round of the playoffs? This to me is like the Bears are doing the smart thing. They're starting Nathan Peterman in this game. So the Vikings should win pretty convincingly. I hope they get out of the game healthy. I'm not super interested. I saw some people talking about Justin Jefferson getting a record or whatever it is. It's not worth it. What's worth it is him being healthy in the first round or for a potential playoff run. It's not worth him getting 100 and whatever many yards to break a record. He's got plenty more time to break a record Why not do it in a meaningless season? Let's just say next year when the Lions win this division and the Bears are better and you don't win a bunch of one-score games and get lucky in year 7 and 9 going into the final week of next season.
Yeah, and then Justin Jefferson goes to the Bengals, and then we're all screwed. Joe, go ahead.
I'm going with the Bears because I think the Vikings at one point in this game are going to realize that they have nothing to play for, and that no matter what they do, it's going to be the number 3 seed. I know there's a possibility that they can get the number 2 seed, but really, come on, it's not going to happen. So I think I was going to go Vikings just like you guys did, but then I was like, well, they could rest some players up in the second half of this game, and the Chicago Bears come back. Justin Fields is 64 yards away, guys, 64 rushing yards away from breaking the quarterback rushing record for a year, and something I didn't think would happen when we used to watch, Michael Vick and Lamar Jackson when they were on fire. But Justin Fields doing his thing. What was I going to say? That's it. That's all I got to say about that. That's all I got to say about that. I don't know. Maybe Kirk Cousins takes the lead in interceptions this year for the league lead. He has, just to let you guys know, Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott, and Derek Carr are now leading the league with 14 interceptions on the season.
Wait. Well, Carr is like locked in as the leader because he didn't play the last 2 games. But I thought that Peterman was starting this game.
He is.
So
Peterman's starting the game for them. And Joe, that record, I hope that he never breaks it, because if you break that record, you're probably not going to have a long career at quarterback in the NFL. So I hope he just increasingly goes down in rushing yards and becomes a better pocket passer.
No Fields out there, and we're going to see how stinky this Bears team is. Without Fields, this team shouldn't even be on the field with the second-string Vikings unit. It's going to be ugly, I think, especially the Vikings play their starters for the first couple quarters. We'll see what the strategy is there for Minnesota. But without Justin Fields, I don't think the Bears could beat anyone in the league. On to this.
Well, if I fucked up and I didn't do the research on Justin Fields, that's just me. But that sucks for me. That means there's a loss for me because the last time the Vikings played the Bills, they didn't have or the Vikings played the Bears didn't have Justin Fields as well, and the Vikings had their best defensive performance of the year.
Yeah. Feel free to make that pick change, because I may also, depending on information that comes out about some of these games, change.
I still kind of feel that the Vikings have nothing to play for, even though they can. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, but Robert Fuente, Robert's guy, Niner fan here, will remember Nick Mullins. He's the backup. This guy spits hot fire from the backup.
For Minnesota.
Yeah,
for Minnesota. They traded for him earlier in the preseason.
Yeah, you're about to see him go.
You guys know how I love backup quarterbacks.
So he's got guys, and think about the Vikings KJ Osborne is going to be out there at wide receiver 1, so he's still going to have a really good wide receiver because how good
my guy Jalen Naylor from Michigan State, he'll be out there.
Jalen Reagor. I mean,
no, Jalen Naylor. They have Jalen Reagor and they have Jalen Naylor.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You got all these guys, man. You're going to have a good
Peterman is known for throwing picks, so he could throw 14 picks in this game and be tied.
That's true. That's true.
I think he already has one on the season, so he doesn't need to throw 14.
I wonder if he has any interception incentives in there in the contract also for him. As many interceptions he can throw, get some incentives. But speaking of receivers, the Vikings' third-string receiver core, KJ Osborne, Jalen Reagor, and whoever that kid is from Minnesota will be better than the Baltimore Ravens receiving core. I'm just saying, the Bears are screwed. We got the Ravens on the road against Cincinnati Bengals. None of us are really picking the Ravens here. I think that the Bengals, they see now how important this game is. This game went from a game that could have been for their division to a game that is no longer for their division, but home field is still on the line in the first round for the Bengals. I think personally the Bengals kind of got screwed by this. They should have just went win percentage flat out, and the Bengals would have stayed the 3 seed. But, Tony, what's your thoughts on this game? I think the Ravens could stick in it, but the Bengals would probably take off in the third quarter. What's your thoughts?
I think the Bengals should win. In my estimation, heading into the playoffs, I was asked the question yesterday, who do I think is the best team heading into the postseason? And I think it's the Cincinnati Bengals. I think their defense is good enough, has enough playmakers, opportunistic. And then on offense, they have so many different offensive weapons that can beat you. If T. Higgins is healthy and Jamar Chase is healthy, and then Mixon and even P. Ryan is shown to be useful even when both of the backs are playing. And then you get back Hayden Hurst. who is a very underrated tight end in this league. Like, he never got a good enough opportunity at the last couple of spots that he's been at, and he's found a nice home, I think, in Cincinnati. And just the thing with the Ravens, it's becoming increasingly more uncomfortable, even to just listen to a John Harbaugh press conference. And they're like, so what's the status on Lamar? I just coach the players who are going to be playing in the game. It's like, what did you just say about your potential franchise quarterback? Like, you don't even want to comment on the guy anymore. It's very uncomfortable that for the third season in a row, John Harbaugh could get there and go, I have all the pieces I need on defense, and I don't have the pieces that I need on the piece that I need on offense. So Cincinnati wins.
Joe, your thoughts? Jimmo the icon in the house. You got a coaster, or is that a sticker?
It's a sticker.
I'm going with the Bengals. I think they come out here ever since their last matchup, which was earlier in the season. That's where I think the Bengals really changed their mind. Bengals went in a different direction. It was after the first matchup against the Ravens. We all know how the Ravens are towards the end of the year. They start to go crap. So the Bengals are the better team. They're going to win this week. They're going to go because these two teams are playing again. Win next week. So how much are they going to show? But I think the Ravens are just done. I think the Ravens are what they are, and they've already known that they're going to move on from Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. My prophecy of Lamar bringing home one for the Ravens is probably done. I think Lamar might have played his last game as a Raven, and this thing's gone sour. The Ravens probably just got tired of the injuries at the worst possible times, and just not aligning for them over and over and over again. Every year, it just doesn't align for them. Even if they go and make moves like acquiring Roquan Smith, now they don't got their quarterback. It's unfortunate. I think the Bengals should win this game, especially with the heightened importance on the game, because they don't want to play as division champs on the road. That's just blasphemy, as Stephen A. would say. The New York Jets are going to Miami to try and play spoilers for the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins need to win and need the Patriots to lose to the Bills in Buffalo this weekend to make the playoffs. Me and Tony got them figuring out. Skylar Thompson's going to be the starting quarterback of this game, but somehow, some way, the Miami Dolphins will win. Tony, what's your thoughts?
I was picking the Jets until I found out that Joe Flacco was going. And I also, if we had more time in the show, I was going to do sort of a goodbye to a player on each team that I think could be playing their last game. I think Joe Flacco should retire after this. I think he should go out there, leave it all out on the field, the best of what he has left. The reason I'm picking the Dolphins is I've been betting the Jets defense a lot this year to win games for them. And especially down the stretch, they haven't been quite as good as they were at the beginning of the season. And it hasn't been putting them over the top. Between Flacco, who will fumble at least twice in this game. Christian Wilkins will force a fumble, and then we'll see some linebacker we've never heard of come off the edge and just smack him while he holds the ball for 18 seconds. Joe Flacco, very good career, but I think this will be it's time to hang it up and go be with the family. He's had a very nice career.
I'm the opposite, Tony. I almost flipped my pick because of Joe Flacco announcement.
I don't know why you hate Mike White so much.
I don't hate him. I just know Joe Flacco's better than him. That's all.
I was going to go with Miami. I was going to go with Miami this whole time until I saw Robert Saleh's press conference where he said that he can't wait for a couple of weeks from now when him and Mike McDaniels are sitting on the beach, on the same beach, watching the playoffs. That's that. And I was like, all right, he's going to have his team fired up, ready to go.
Oh, he's
about to get Mike McDaniel fired. He's about to get Mike McDaniel
and
fired.
That's the crazy part. They're talking about if the Dolphins lose today, that they could fire McDaniels as their coach, and we're all looking like, what the hell? But you already know Lamar Jackson's going to be the quarterback of the Miami Dolphins next year. So Sean Payton, maybe that rumor of Sean Payton going to Miami last year, maybe that happens this year. But I think the Jets come out here and they ruin the Dolphins' season.
I think the Dolphins is Tom Brady's second likely spot with Sean Payton. And I think that would be contingent, all of those things. And it all depends on how well Brock Purdy performs in the playoffs. If Brock Purdy balls out and there's absolutely zero conversation needing to be had about that, I think it would go Brady to the Dolphins over Brady to the Raiders.
And okay, the Dolphins started 8-3, so they could finish 8-9. They could finish 8-9. And somebody's saying I like McDaniels. I think McDaniels has done enough where he will get another coaching job if he's fired from this one.
Oh, I agree. I think there's a few teams. If you're the Cardinals, don't you want somebody like that to come in and work with Kyler Murray? Wouldn't you want him to come in and work with your young quarterback and offense in a place like Carolina? Like I think there's quite a few places that I would see Mike McDaniels. No, not going as an offensive coordinator, Mike. I think he would be fired and hired as a head coach before this off. Like what he was able to do, he put Tua in an MVP conversation at a certain point this year. People thought that this dude might be not be able to be a starter in the league, and then all of a sudden people went like, Tua's MVP. Like just give him pieces, and Mike McDaniel will make it run. I think he'd get a job.
Yeah, and this is just another story here that in the dysfunction in an organization for the Miami Dolphins, from the coaching to the ownership. They're not in sync. They don't all want the same thing. Their goals aren't aligning once again, like they did with Brian Flores, which ended up in an ugly finish for those guys. And, obviously Mike McDaniel is going to play with who he's got out there. But the Dolphins obviously want to bring in a quarterback. They've been trying to do this for like 3 years now. And the coaches are like, no, let's just try and get our guy going that we spent a 5th overall pick on.
You mean 35 years? Dan Marino's been retired for a long time.
Yeah.
We might as well call them the Dolphins and take that D away from them because that's what they don't have over there in Miami.
If you don't fully invest from top to bottom, there's going to be dysfunction, and you're going to have to keep starting over like this. They would not fully invest into and now we got a string of coaches that are getting fired that were all, in the NFL's fan base's eyes, pretty good. I just think the Dolphins find a way to win this game. I've been riding against the Jets ever since they lost Breece Hall. It's been working out for me. Like I said, I'm a little bit scared now that Joe Flacco's going to come out and deliver one of his classic, just throws jump balls like crazy, and Garrett Wilson goes and gets them all. I am a little bit worried about that, but I think that the Dolphins should
switch, Mike. You really should.
Yeah, Tony, I got 5 on it.
I'm close to switching, but I don't want to switch.
Get that text message that you do switch.
Who's going to be the quarterback of the Jets next year, Derek Carr or Jimmy G?
Derek Carr.
I saw Gemma's question, and I think that the quarterback, that Jimmy G, depends on where Tom Brady ends up, but there's 3 systems that he could go to: the Jets, the Dolphins, the Raiders. He's going to be familiar with all of them.
Jimmy to the Raiders, Carr to the Jets, Lamar Jackson to the Dolphins.
Yeah, I think Jimmy to the Raiders.
They all the chips fall, and then Tom Brady to the
49ers. To the Panthers.
Buckle your seatbelts. We got another wild off season coming, everybody. Speaking of wild, the Carolina Panthers are going to run wild all over the Saints. Tony, what's going on here?
Harrison, I'm sorry. We got to end the season with me picking against the Panthers. But the Panthers let me down again last week. And it's 2 times in like 3 weeks that they show up against the Lions. It's actually 3 weeks in a row or whatever. And I'm just not going to do it anymore. I'm not into it. I'm going to go down sinking with the Saints ship when I picked them to win this crappy division at the beginning of the year. And I'll leave it at that. I don't think either of these teams really have much to play for. The Saints, I saw some weird notification this morning. They restructured Mike Thomas's contract. Why aren't both parties ready to just move on at this point? Is the restructuring so he's easier to trade?
Maybe.
Like, why are they restructuring Mike Thomas with 48 hours to go in their season? Like, what is this? What is that even? I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a Mike Thomas trade this offseason. I don't know how much he's got left in the tank. Joe, going with the Carolina Panthers, huh?
Yeah, because I think the Carolina Panthers are going to make the Saints defense look like the San Francisco 49ers #1 defense from last week. Get ran all over and passed all over. Saints going to give up 500 yards of offense today to the tomorrow to the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers are going to dominate this defense, it's going to be the DJ Moore show. It's going to be the Deontay Foreman show. Everybody on that team, they're going to get touchdowns all day, every day. And Sam Darnold's going to look like MVP caliber.
Last week.
Is that the Niners out there? That looks like the Niners defense.
Last week I was watching Red Zone, and they were showing Carolina Panthers plays. And they showed one, and Sam Darnold threw an absolute dart to get them down into like striking distance. And they show the next play. He just has an awful fumble. It's like up and down Sam Darnold goes. I am only picking the Panthers because of Harrison. That is it. I want Harrison on my side for the entire offseason. So, Harrison, this is the only – you picked the Panthers.
Harrison's not even picking the Panthers.
I'm so confused, Harrison, because when I pick the Panthers, you're upset at me because I jinx them. When I pick against the Panthers, you're upset at me because I don't believe in them. What do you want from me?
He's a fan scorned right now. He thought that they were going to win the division just like I did last week. They had the Bucs on the ropes. Sam Darnold, I think, in the right position, could be a decent starter in the NFL. Like, he's shown a little bit to me at the end of this where I think he's going to be a solid backup to and compete in a spot at some point. We haven't heard the last of Sam Darnold.
If
anything, everybody thought the Panthers had that game won last week. I think everybody was like, the Panthers are going to beat the Bucs, and somehow they lost that game. Well, Sam Darnold helped them lose that game, but it was like everybody thought the Panthers had it won last week.
I knew that whole time what was happening.
I actually was celebrating. I was like, "Oh, this!"
Until we realized the NFL's rigged, Tony.
Yeah.
Well, this is your fault, Joe, and Harrison's blaming me just because I brought up the fact that you jinxed the Panthers last week. You went on this long rant about how the Panthers are going to do it. They're going to beat the Bucs, and how Mike Evans sucks, and he's been terrible all year, and all this stuff. You set all this up. You put it on the silver platter and served those who get jinxed with a jinx.
Well, Mike Evans, you're welcome.
You're welcome. Fantasy owners of Mike Evans are pissed because they had him on their bench.
No, there's nobody who made the championship with Mike Evans on their team. I'm telling you that right now. Sorry, if you had Mike Evans, you didn't make the championship.
You see that that video Tom Brady posted on TikTok?
I didn't.
He's like, if you sat Mike Evans for your championship, you're an idiot.
I like that.
New England Patriots, Brady's old home. We got them going on the road and losing to Buffalo. I think that the general message is I think that the Bills are definitely rallying around this tragedy. I did not know it could go either way. It's either could seriously, catastrophically end their season pretty much mentally, or they rally around it and a team full of a lot of talented football players all of a sudden has even more motivation heading into the playoffs. I think that's the case. That's why I'm taking the Bills. But Tony, what's your thoughts?
There's a lot on the line, and I think that knowing that they've seen him and talked to him is a big difference, right? Like if they still didn't know and things were in limbo and they've spent the entire week instead of prepping for the game, checking in on their brother in the hospital, it's a different maybe outcome for me in this. But then I just go back to the Patriots just aren't very good. They're winning games because Bill Belichick is such a defensive mastermind. And if Bill Belichick would get out of his own way this offseason and bring in a real talent evaluator for offense, and then actually I'll get an offensive coordinator for Mac Jones, who I think is a startable league average quarterback in this league. I don't think he's great or the future or the baby goat or whatever the joke is for him there. He's fine. And Belichick can win games with him at quarterback, but not with the way they're running things right now. I just think there's too much emotion, too much on the line. The Bills wanting to make a statement, win for this young man. I hope the Bills win this game by 35 points, and it's just a real reason to celebrate and enjoy life on the sidelines for the Bills.
Hey, if the Patriots win, they're in the playoffs. If the Patriots win their game, they're in the playoffs. But the Buffalo Bills are going to say, nah, remember all those years that you tormented us and you tore us apart? This is when we get our payback. This is when we knock you out and send your asses home. And I think last week's situation could go either way, right? It could go either way. But every time you see a team hit hard with something, what happens? That team comes together, they rally together, and I think this was what brings Buffalo Bills back together and does exactly what Santos says right here. The Buffalo Bills are winning the Super Bowl.
What kind of last name was that?
Well, the Vikings are winning the Super Bowl.
Garcia? Okay, I never heard it. I'm with it, Santos.
After what I saw from the San Francisco 49ers last week, the Super Bowl goes through the AFC. The NFC is horrible.
Mike's leaving us in like 3 minutes here, and his final comment is going to be Vikings are going to the Super Bowl.
No. I thought that Joe's Super Bowl pick was the Vikings.
Oh, okay.
I got a little bit more time. Rose is out right now. When she comes back, I believe. Buccaneers on the road in Atlanta. I'm the only one rocking with Desmond Ridder after all of our offseason. And I'm not even going to say our. I listened to your guys' offseason hype, and that got me hyped about Desmond Ridder. And now you're not taking Desmond Ridder over Blaine Gabbert?
So I'm really confused because originally I thought that they were going to play their starters for at least the first half of the football game, right? Like that's what I read. This is one of those games I'm talking about possibly switching. Then I saw they're sitting all of their defense. Like all their defense is out. I was like, wait, are they not trying to win this game? Do they not care? Like, because Brady had said he wants to play in this game. So this is a game I may switch. I'm going to let you know that right now. But let me just say this. Zero might get his wish. Tom Brady is the greatest villain of the reality NFL TV series. And when they get the Cowboys in the first round of the playoffs, I've been saying this for 10 weeks. Tom Brady is looking around going, now Jalen Hurts might have a shoulder injury. The one team that's going to stop me. Because if you think he's going to lose to Brock Purdy again in an NFC Championship game, forget about it. If they get to the NFC Championship game, Niners fans, forget about it. Forget about it. This man will be in his 11th Super Bowl, and we'll have to listen to him talk. Well, I just eat avocados, and I do a lot of rubber band stretching, and I win. That's what I do. I teabag the entire NFL fan base. Thanks, Thomas Brady.
But yeah, that he loses to Justin Herbert in the Super Bowl. All that just to lose to Justin Herbert. Joe, sticking with the Bucks, even though that they have nothing to play for. As we were,
I originally was going with the Falcons, and I was like, the Falcons' first string sucks so bad that they can't even compete with the Bucks' second string. Like, I'm not a big fan of the Falcons and anything they're doing there. I think Arthur Smith has done a great job with the talent that he has, with that shitty-ass roster that he has, but he eventually probably will go down with the ship, right? Even though he should come back for another year. But the Tampa Bay, I don't care if Tampa Bay sits their whole second string and they go with just third string, or they pick up Mike on the mic or NFL Mike and have him play cornerback for a game. The Atlanta Falcons aren't good enough to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, no matter who's playing. And they said Kyle Trask is starting or playing. Mike, isn't that your boy? Isn't that the first string quarterback, the guy who's supposed to take over this franchise? Let's see what he learned from Tom Brady the last couple of years and go on and okay, when's the last time the Falcons beat the Bucs? Let's look that up first. And then, I mean, I'm sure it's been a couple years.
Yeah, I am not a Kyle Trask guy. I thought Blaine Gabbert was playing in this game. I didn't even think it was going to be Kyle Trask. But yeah, I think that the Bucs have nothing to play for. The Falcons are trying out young talent. It is just a situation where why would the Bucs play their veterans? These guys don't need reps going into the postseason. It's Mike Evans, Tom Brady, Chris Godwin. I mean, you could say the O-line might need some reps or some work, but they suck. There's nothing.
They don't need
reps. Yeah. There's nothing they can do about them sucking. They might as well just try and keep the guys on the field that they got. I saw that report also. The defense is going to say, I think the Bucs, they may play one drive. And it's going to be the Falcons starters and Desmond Ridder against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers backups. And Tampa Bay Buccaneers
they're already calling him Kyle Trash.
They're filling in here. Garbage.
Who's playing running back for the Buccaneers? Who's playing running back?
I have no clue.
Keyshawn Vaughn, I would assume.
Yeah. I'm still going with them. You could have said whatever your name was. I'm still going.
Tyler Allgeier's playing for the Falcons. Better buckle that chin strap.
They're suiting up Warwick Dunn, Mike Allstott, and Michael Pittman Sr. They're doing a throwback.
On to this one. Ooh, we got a chance here for Mike to get a leg up on the competition. Y'all are both rocking with the Steelers. Tony, what you thinking here?
I'm taking Mike Tomlin over whatever mess is happening with the Cleveland Browns. I know that there's a little bit of optimism that Deshaun Watson is turning a corner. The numbers don't suggest it, and some of the drives and whatever else, but there were some drop balls in the last couple of games. I don't think this is the kind of game where you're not looking for a get-right game against this defense. You're trying to escape, running the football a bunch. The Steelers have things to play for. Potentially playoffs, keeping winning seasons alive, a long story tradition of just beating the crap out of the dog pound and their fans. And I think that tradition lives on for another week. And Kenny Pickett finds a way to not save it till the fourth quarter, Kenny. Tighten those gloves in the first quarter and sling it a little bit.
Let it loose. Let it loose. And everyone, real quick, before Joe gives his beautiful take that I'm sure is going to be great. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. I noticed we got some new people in here. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Joe, go ahead.
So, if the Steelers win this game and the Dolphins and the Patriots lose like I predicted, and I think, the Steelers make the playoffs. This is – do you guys know this stuff? This is what's crazy is the Steelers are, 8-8 right now? So they could go 9-8. Which would continue Mike Tomlin's impressive resume of 16 seasons without a losing season, right? This is Mike Tomlin's only second time in Mike Tomlin's head coaching career that the Pittsburgh Steelers are facing an elimination from the playoffs game. This is the second time in 16 seasons. You don't think Mike Tomlin has his team fired up, ready to go? You don't think Kenny Pickett's coming with the Cleveland Browns quitting? Did you not see what Jadeveon Clowney, overrated ass, did yesterday? He quit on the Cleveland Browns. He's gone. And Myles Garrett had to come out and say, we want volunteers. We don't want hostages here. They're fighting within their own organization. Kevin Stefanski is already getting hit up, and they want him fired. The Cleveland Browns fans want him fired. So I'm not going to take an organization that has nothing going for them, that are fighting with their own guys. Their players are quitting against the Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin is the one, if not, has probably already surpassed Bill Belichick this year as the best coach in the NFL this year.
The Steelers have been tightroping every game, basically that they've won this year, but every game in general, where they're just on the teetering edge. Are we going to lose? Are we going to win? And one fumble, one ball bounces a different direction, one missed kick, anything in between. A small mistake has been the difference for the Steelers between winning and losing, like their last 3 or 4 games that they went on this winning streak. I think that it comes to an end with the Browns, who have, like I said, they improve on moving the ball. And it's just confusing because they're moving the ball better, but the stats aren't getting better for Deshaun Watson. Like, he had 3 touchdowns last week, but I believe he only had like a 50% completion percentage. So it's like they're moving the ball, but they're not necessarily like having sustained success for their quarterback. And it's because they have a great offensive line and running backs, but I think they could score 20 points in the Steelers defense. They just did it last week to a really good Washington Commanders defense.
You have just described nearly 50 years of Steeler football dating back to 1972, which is winning games. And the thing is they always seem to come out on top. It doesn't matter. I think what is as impressive as what the Patriots did, when you think over the last 50 years, they've had like Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and Mike Tomlin. It is the best run organization in all of football. And I don't care what Super Bowls say or choke jobs or whatever. They're going to win this football game pretty easily. It's just such a better organization than the dumpster fire Browns.
Well,
Steeler fans don't know what you have. They don't know what they have.
There's been a couple times where, everyone's thought that there's been blowouts, like, the Bengals-Patriots game, some other games here and there. So I'll stick with this pick and stick with the Browns to beat the Steelers by 1 point. 1 point. Eventually, when you put rookies out there and ask them to be perfect, they're not going to be perfect. And I think that's going to happen this week. On to L.A. in Seattle. We all rock with Seattle Seahawks. The Rams, as I said in the video, are doing trade value auditions this week. Tony, any chance that the Rams play spoiler here?
There's a great chance they play spoiler. I might change this one just to be a contrarian, just for the fun of it. Because I don't necessarily believe the Rams are going to win, but they could win. I think it's a better chance than not. The Rams ran into playing a game the night after a holiday, and also they ran into a really good, surging Super Bowl potential defense. That's what happened to them last week. So I think that they've played better. They're 2-2 with Mayfield, one of the greatest wins in NFL history on Thursday Night Football. Joe will remember that. It was a fantastic 17-16 victory. I'm I'm really just kind of rooting for Geno Smith to win this game. I don't even particularly like Pete Carroll, but I think he's a great coach, and I'm rooting for Geno Smith to make the playoffs. That's ultimately what it's come down to. Like, I was like, what are the scenario in the NFC? And I think the Seahawks have the best chance to make it. So I'm rooting for
Seattle needs to win, and they need the Packers to lose.
Exactly. Speaking of the playoffs, I forgot to mention. So in the scenario we have here, me and Tony picked the Dolphins, but picked against the Patriots. So me and Tony have the Dolphins getting the final spot. And Joe, you have the Steelers because you have the Dolphins and the Patriots losing for the Steelers to get the final spot in the AFC. Let us know in the chat who you guys got getting these final spots in the NFC and AFC. Each spot is down to like 3 teams battling for one slot. So it is pretty exciting this final week of football. But go ahead, Joe. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no, and that's why I took Seattle ultimately over the Rams. I know the Rams have come out and said, we want to play spoiler. And a little bit of me was like, well, Seahawks can't stop the run, and maybe Cam Akers runs all over them. And then I was like, hell no, the Rams suck. Why would I go with the Rams? I'll go with the team that actually has something to fight for. A lot of question marks about the Rams going into next season after this year. So I'm just going to go with the team. And Geno Smith looked a little bit better last week, and he was, hey, I'm going to find DK Metcalf, right? Go to your guys, go to your studs. I know there's question marks on Tyler Lockett if he's actually going to play or not, but I don't care. I think the Seahawks come out here and they dominate the Rams, and then let fate in the Sunday night game help them out.
Yeah, and I think that the Rams offense could score some points in the Seattle defense. I don't think the Seattle defense is shut down by any means, but I have some worry about the Rams defense, especially last week. The Chargers made it look kind of easy on them. Mike Williams at the sideline was getting showboaty, even doing one-handed catches and stuff. It was a ton of fun to watch as a Chargers fan. I think that this Rams defense is decimated with injuries, and Bobby Wagner and Jalen Ramsey are playing their asses off, but without a pass rush or without Aaron Donald out there, there's not much you can do. And I think that Pete Carroll is going to drop a good game plan to take advantage of that.
Wagner needs 10 tackles to set the franchise record for the Rams on most tackles.
Immediately, he goes there for one season and sets their franchise record.
Geno, right?
Craziness. Huh?
What?
No, this is an awkward silence because I can tell how betrayed Mike feels right now.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty betrayed because you put your faith in Mike White, you put your faith in Russell Wilson multiple times this year, you put your faith in Derek Carbage multiple times this year, but you ain't got no faith in Easton Stick and Chase Daniels.
No.
But go ahead, Tony. Let us know how you have faith in Mike White, you have faith in Tyler Heineke, you have faith in Sam Howell, but you don't got faith in Easton Stick and Chase Daniels. Tell him, Tony. Tell him.
Tony's been calling it all year. Tony, tell
times.
him why. Because you've been calling it all year. Russell Wilson's gonna cook, and this is the week, right?
Desmond Ridder, Mitch Trubisky. I've seen it all, Tony. So go ahead.
I spent my hard-earned money, and so did Mike and his lovely bride. We went to a preseason football game, and we watched the quarterback play that is going to be on display for a large chunk of this football game after the Ravens take the L in the game. I just don't think they're going to play a lot of players past the first quarter of this football game. They might try and have a couple of fun drives. They might try to get Austin Eckler a couple early touchdowns or something like that, or whatever's going on. But I'm going to root for Chase Daniels. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to root for Easton Stick. But again, guys, this is a show about making picks. Who's going to win the game? And I think that the Broncos defense against Chase Daniels throwing to Michael Bandy and DeAndre Carter, this isn't not good.
What if I told you this, Tony? DeAndre Carter needs 2 catches, 55 yards, and 2 touchdowns for a $300,000 bonus. Does that change your pick?
No, it doesn't. I hope that he gets it. I'm rooting for him to get it.
If he gets it, it's over because the Broncos will lose 14-10.
Jared Everett has so he has to have like 3 catches or something in this game too for his contract.
Yeah, we're gonna see some Stone Smart, I think.
And here's another thing I read: the Bolts have nothing to play for. The Chargers, no matter what they are, they're stuck where they're at. So Are they going to try to bring like Austin Eckler? They could bring him out and try to get him 2 touchdowns so he can have 20 and be the first guy, and tie some of the records. But they're not going to do that. They're just going to come out here. Chargers are just going to do their thing, walk through their motion, and they're going to get beat by the Broncos. That's all that's going to happen. And you can say what you want, Mike. You could be happy, but you're going to be happy with the 10-7 season going to the playoffs.
Yes.
I mean, I would be happy if that happened. But, yeah, the Broncos lost 12-9 to Matt Ryan. I'm not believing in the Broncos against anybody that made it to the NFL. I'm just saying it right now, especially a veteran, a savvy veteran like Chase Daniels who's going to know how to use his weapons.
The Broncos beat the 49ers. Remember that.
It's going to be an Isaiah Spiller coming out party. We're going to see a Stone Smart coming out party. The Chargers' defensive secondary is extremely deep, has a lot of depth. We're going to see Jeremy Lane at safety. I'm very excited for this game, and I think that the Chargers are going to show that they're a really deep team against the Broncos in Denver, and they're going to win a close one, 17-10 or something, 17-14.
If you told me Easton Stick was going to start the whole game, I would pick the Chargers.
Just pick it.
Chase Daniels needs to go take the job at NFL Network that he's been auditioning for. He's going to be fantastic at it.
I was supposed to be at this game. Thank God that got canceled. I mean, not thank God, because I tore my knee up to get it canceled. But anyways, on to the next one. I'm the only one rocking with the Chargers on the show where being biased is extremely encouraged. I'm just saying.
And it only took 17 weeks for Russell Wilson to throw as many touchdowns, more touchdowns than he has restrooms or bathrooms in his house. So it only took 17 weeks for that to happen.
Also, for the record, Justin Herbert could have broken the record in this game if he had to play in this game for the most touchdown passes ever by a quarterback in his first 3 seasons.
Just for the record, guys, remember that Patrick Mahomes did not play his first season.
Everyone's like, yawn, because he breaks all the records. It's just used to it at this point.
And it would be total touchdowns. So Luke Marino is 90. It doesn't matter. Who cares? The only number that we care about is the first Super Bowl. That's the only one. Get the first Super Bowl championship so that all of the BS trash talk from Raiders fans being like 0 rings, all of that nonsense could just like.
Well, I remember the last time the last Chargers Super Bowl victory very well. It was a great day for all Charger fans. You guys remember that when you guys won the Super Bowl, right? You guys remember
the AFL championship win in 1952? Yeah, I remember that. But anyways, Joe, also, I'm surprised you're not rooting for the Chargers in this, because if the Broncos lose this game, they will have been swept by everyone in the division. Every single team in the division.
So we count AFL championships as Super Bowl wins?
Count them all, Joe. Did they get a ring? Did they hold a trophy? Then it counts.
Wow. I guess if that's what we
have to talk about the Giants and the Eagles or what? Because then the Giants probably have like 100.
Winning AFL championships is like saying that you were the Pee Wee football MVP, and that's how badass a football player you are.
Well, imagine this. The Chargers have been in the NFL for 52 years, 55 years.
Niner Gang said he loves the 94 Super Bowl, Mike.
72 years, right? Wasn't it?
No, I think it's less than 60 years. I remember seeing 58, something like that. 50 years, somewhere in there. And the Raiders' last Super Bowl win was 40 years ago. So the Chargers have almost been in existence in the NFL for as long as since the Raiders won a Super Bowl. At what point do the Super Bowls expire if the AFL championship doesn't count?
Never.
Oh, my gosh. Of course they don't.
That's why we're in the Super Bowl era, Mike.
Let's talk about the Giants and the Eagles.
Niner Gang, you're officially on timeout. Even if you don't go on timeout, you're on timeout for that 94 Super Bowl comment.
The only thing that the Giants.
Well, what about Zero saying the Chargers and their 2 ring pops?
Yeah, my time. I gotta go. I'll see you guys.
I'm up. They're all going on time.
Positive. Yeah, I need some more help from the Chargers family in the chat. So please talk some smack if you're a Chargers fan.
Yeah, it's time to put baby in the corner. All of them.
Let's finish this thing. Anyways, I think the Giants, their mission in this game is not to win this game. Their mission in this game is not to send the Eagles down a notch in the standings. Their mission in this game is not to do anything other than keep Saquon Barkley healthy at all costs, because that's their only chance come playoff time. Tony, what's your thoughts on this one?
I'm not even sure that he's going to get snaps. Like, I don't know. I don't understand the point of even putting him out there or dressing him up or whatever. Like, just let him bundle up, cheer on his team from the sideline, go to the playoffs. The Eagles on that side, they're hoping they get up 3 scores early in this game and they can just go and, hey, Jalen, go put your shoulder in that snowbank over there. Start treatment now from the sideline.
The point spread is 14 in this game. 14 in this game. Like, we already know the Giants have nothing to play for. They have their playoff, and they're going to rest some players. But 14 in this game, and didn't the Giants already get their butts kicked once by the Eagles, and that was with their first strings in?
Yeah.
And now you want me to go, oh, maybe the Giants can upset the Eagles. No, the Eagles are going to go, hey, we've lost a couple games, but we're going to come out and we're going to get that number 1 seed, and we're going to shut it down because they know that they have to win this game. Because if the Eagles lose this game, the 49ers are going to beat the crap out of the Cardinals, right? So the 49ers, the number 1 seed in the NFC is up for grabs in this game, and the Eagles aren't going to come out here and just lay down for the Giants, and the Giants are going to lay down for the Eagles, and that's crazy because you think it's a division opponent, and you would want to ruin the Eagles season, but the Giants are in a situation that they shouldn't be in. They're in the playoffs, like, and they didn't think that they would probably be in the playoffs at the beginning of the season, or at least a lot of people didn't put the Giants here. So they're happy just getting to the playoffs. So they're going to be like, okay, let's rest our guys.
Yeah, and they're locked up and down. Like, they cannot move up. They cannot move down. Win, lose does not matter for the Giants other than just a shiny 10 instead of a 9 in the win column. And for the Eagles also, on top of it all, they're on a 2-game losing streak. I know they've had their backup quarterback in, but you don't want to go into the playoffs on a 3-game losing streak on top of everything as, the number 2 seed now, because the Niners are probably going to stomp the Cardinals. I was saying that the Cardinals would probably forfeit this game if they could. I don't think they can. But Tony, any chance for the Cardinals? It's going to be Trace McSorley. No DeAndre Hopkins is already confirmed. It's going to be ugly.
This game is going to be brutal, and the person I feel worse for is Cliff Kingsbury, because I don't necessarily think Kingsbury, like, he takes a lot of heat and whatever from it. I don't think that this is necessarily his fault. Like, from a scheming or coaching standpoint, I think it's more just like maybe he's not an NFL leader, right? Like, he's not got enough of whatever it is, that quality that puts you over the top and rallies a bunch of millionaires to go out there and dominate. Good for the 49ers. It doesn't matter. The 49ers are headed into the postseason, and that's all that matters. We knew that they were going here for a long time. No matter
the quarterback, huh?
Well, the Niners,
who cares?
This will be the Niners' 10th win in a row, Tony. 10 wins in a row going into the playoffs. Last time that they went on a winning streak and did all this, they won 9 in a row, and they went, 9 in a row and went on and to win the Super Bowl. Last time they did this was the San Francisco 49ers. But I've also seen a team do this too. I've seen a team start, go on a big run like this and win games like this. And last time they went to the Super Bowl, they lost. It was my Raiders. But it's okay. Remember that year the Raiders started 4-0, then they went 4-4, and then they ran the table all the way to Super Bowl and lost.
No, because it was like 25 years ago. I was a baby. I wasn't even walking yet. I couldn't walk then. I can't walk now.
You were still swimming?
Yeah.
I was in San Diego for that Super Bowl. It was a beautiful day.
Yeah, it's going to be David Blau show, right? I don't think Trace McSorley is starting. I think it's David Blau again.
Blau? Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Even better.
But, yeah, Niners going to come out here. Niners should dominate. But what time is their game? Is their game starting at the same time as the Eagle game?
No clue. They're going to be scoreboard watching, though.
Oh yeah, they're both starting at the same time, so they're gonna be scoreboard watching. But like we said at the beginning of the year, what I tell you guys about them Cardinals at the beginning of the year, Tony, fade the Cardinals, and we're at the week 18, and I'm looking pretty damn fine, like I always do, Tony.
Yeah, you gotta start scouting your next team, Joe. That's 2 years in a row now, Saints and Cardinals. On to this game where you guys are picking the Cowboys, huh? You know Sam Howell's coming out with a W on the helmet?
Well, so depending on this game, when does this game start and can contrast to the Eagles? Because I do think that there's something about Washington where it's like if the Cowboys realize, hey, we don't have anything to play for at some point in this game, Taylor Heineke gets some reps, puts up a couple of touchdowns, and a big old FU for benching him and treating him poorly. I never soured on somebody faster than I did Ron Rivera in that 49ers Washington game, and the way that he called that game for Heineke, who was not playing bad until his back was pushed up against the wall. Terrible. Made me upset. Cowboys fans, enjoy it. You're going to the playoffs. You're going to get Tom Brady in the first round. How you sleeping before that game?
Have fun with that one. Have fun with that one.
I'm just going with the Cowboys. There's nothing I can say about it. That's it. It's just gonna be it.
Cooper Rush comes in. All right, last game, so I can get out of here. My wife's actually calling me right now. Anyways, this is it. This is for the final spot in the NFC. If Seattle wins, then Detroit will be eliminated, and this will be between the Packers and the Seahawks. If Seattle loses to the Rams, this is a win-to-get-in situation. It's a win-to-get-in situation for Aaron Rodgers and the Packers either way. I'm following the script trail. Just following the little script trail all the way to the Aaron Rodgers playoff show. Tony, Aaron Rodgers wins this week and then gets revenge on the 49ers next week?
I'm cheering so much for the Detroit Lions. Like, everything. I will be rooting to have this game wrong the entire time I watch it. I will have a nice glass of scotch or bourbon, whatever I decide to pull out of the liquor cabinet over there, and I will be celebrating with Dan Campbell. I want them to win this game. The reality is it's cold outside. Jared Goff isn't good in the cold, and it's the freaking Lions. I lived with this my entire childhood. I would sit there and watch family members and friends scream at the TV when Wayne Fonts and the good Lions teams would let them down. There are some, if you went back and you looked and you're like, wait, they had Barry Sanders and Herman Moore went for 1,600 yards? How did this team was not better? It's the Lions. There's nothing. You can't explain it. Like, they've literally had some of the best offensive outputs in this history of the NFL. Nothing to show for it. It's the Lions. Packers will win. Same thing.
Joe, you realize that not only is the Lions season coming down to this, remember, the 10-win projection and making the playoffs. Not only is the Green Bay Packers season coming down to this, but the Mike's Pick'ems challenge between us three at least might come down to this very game, and you're riding with the Lions to bring it home for you.
Well, here's the reason. I thought about going Green Bay Packers because I already know how the NFL is. The NFL is rigged, right? They want to see Aaron Rodgers versus the 49ers. But I said to myself, Mike, I've been riding the Detroit Lions all year, and when they need me the most, I'm not going to give up on them. I'm going to go with them. I'm not like Tony and just quit on the Detroit Lions. I'm going to go with them, and I'm going to ride with them. And you know what? I hope Seattle loses for the Detroit Lions, makes the playoffs. But look, Jamal, at the end of the season, at the end of this game, we can forget about a guy named Barry Sanders. We can forget about him because Jamal Williams will break Barry Sanders' record for most touchdowns as a Lion. And I don't know if you guys have been seeing the press conferences between Aaron Rodgers and Jamal Williams this week. They've been awesome. They've been great. Jamal Williams is a funny dude. So go back and watch those guys. But I'm not quitting on the Detroit Lions. And there's a reason, right? Last time they played each other, Aaron Rodgers threw how many picks against the Detroit Lions? 3. And the Detroit Lions are playing better. Remember, Aaron Rodgers got that tattoo that we all talked about? And what was on there? Lions. Because the Lions are going to end Aaron Rodgers' playoff hopes this week.
Love it.
He's going to end the Lions' playoff hopes. It could go the – no?
All right.
That was very passionate, Joe.
I
just want to say that, Joe, you do deserve kudos. You do deserve a shout-out because if you weren't a Lions and Raiders fan, you'd be up by 20 in this competition. 20.
And Zero said the outro on our show says fade the Saints. Yeah, because last year I told people fade the Saints. So when we made the show at the beginning of this year, that was my thing. And then at the beginning of this year, I started saying fade the Cardinals. So, yeah, that's why it says fade the Saints, because last year I faded the Saints, and that's what happened to the Saints. This year I said fade the Cardinals, and we all saw the destruction of the Cardinals. Hey, anyways, you guys see the weeks that we had. You guys see the picks that we have. Good luck to Mike to try to catch me. I doubt he will. But to also remember, come Monday is also bad Monday. How many? I can see up to 10 coaches being gone or 10 openings on Monday.
Tony, you're just mathematically eliminated, I guess.
Don't even worry about it. And if it comes down to Sunday night and I have a chance to beat Mike, I'm gonna switch and pick the Lions. That's how.
You
That's
got
how.
to.
That's how
And
I.
if I get a
fly.
chance to switch and make sure that this thing gets clinched, I will be switching to the Lions.
Oh, I switched to the Vikings. Just to let you guys know.
Oh, you're
So
switching
Joe
to the
switched to the Vikings. Okay, on record, Joe is
All right,
now
so here we go. It's
taking the Vikings.
for those that are watching the competition closely. It's KC Vegas here in a couple hours. I'm sure this will go Joe's way. Tennessee Jacksonville. We got some differences. Going with Tennessee.
Let's just say if it goes my way at the beginning of that game, if this first Raider game goes my way, just kiss it goodbye, Mike.
Jets Dolphins. Saints Panthers. I'm going with the Falcons and the Browns solo. Those are two huge games for my chances to win this thing.
I'm switching to the Falcons. I cannot pick Kyle Trask. It can't happen.
Let's just get off this show. Send in all the pick changes. Keep track of this record. All this talk about me changing picks all year, and all of a sudden I'm going through them, and it's like, switching that one, switching that one. Actually, I'm going to switch that one.
To be fair, when Tony sent his picks in, he did say to be determined on a lot of them that he might be changing a lot of them.
Okay, yeah.
This is it. This is the only one. This is the only one.
And the only reason I'm only going to change one, and the only reason I'm changing it because I didn't do my research on the Justin Fields shit and it screwed me up. And there's no way I'm taking Nate the Great Peterson.
I want to leave with this thought. I think it would be fun if the NFL had like basically all the AFC games played at the same time. Like start the ones that have playoff implications at for us it's 10:25 or whatever in the morning, and then do one where they do all the NFC games, like AFC whatever it is, and so they all finish at the same time. Like, wouldn't it be fun to be watching a red zone on the final week of the season where all of one side is going to finish and then all of the other sides, because they make them rivalry games anyways. So yeah. I think that would be a fun way to finish the final week of the season. I know they need to get all their money from Sunday Night Football because that's why they force us to watch Thursday Night Football. They need more and more money thrown into there.
Well, they should put the first overall pick game in the slot for the primetime instead in that scenario.
There you go, Mike. That's a great thing. Like, if somebody has a chance to get the number one overall pick
Saturday and Sunday night.
Nobody's going to watch those games, by the way, Mike.
Anyway, it's game day, baby. Game day, baby.
Oh, yeah. Super excited to see the Raiders.
So if you guys see us live this afternoon, it's because I'm watching the game live. I will not show the game, but you can see my reaction, and I go crazy during some of these games. And the Raider Nation.
I'm just saying that last year I predicted the Raiders to go like 5-12 or something. That's something awful, and they made the playoffs, won 10 games. This year I predicted them to win 10 games. And they lost 10 games. So cooking up something for next offseason. Get some Raiders hype going. We'll see you guys next week for the Playoff Precision Challenge, where we'll be calling every single playoff game, just like we call every single game here the rest of the year. What's up?
What about tomorrow morning?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, we can do tomorrow morning. There's no fantasy football.
We'll just talk football.
Okay, and tomorrow morning as well. We'll be talking football. We'll see you guys then. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, share this with your friends, and good luck to all your teams unless you're a Raiders, Chiefs, Broncos fan.